It's not often that we find a person who has such a depth of knowledge in the crypto world and has many plans himself to use it in business. And he's our guest today. We'll find out more in just a moment. This is the Swarm Unplugged podcast, where we introduce you to the best and the brightest in the crypto universe. With thousands of ideas to learn from people in all areas of crypto, we want to explore as many as possible. I'm Christopher Knight, so let's get started. You know, we really do. With the Swarm Unplugged, we have gone through several evolutions, if you will. At this point in time, we really want to bring in outside people who can add a different flavor to what we learn most often in the bees community. And today, we have just that type of person who has a very creative background. He has a very creative present and a very creative future ahead of him. Jaian Cuttari is going to be introduced here in a moment. Before I do that, though, I'm going to bring on my special co-host, Tony K.
Wow, guest host. I was already demoted and I didn't even get the memo. And
well, there you go. I sent it out night before last. You didn't get it? Okay. All right.
I think it showed that you just delivered it about 15 seconds ago, but hey, what can I say? I mean,
well, I was thinking more about.
I'll get used to it. I have to change my cards, my business heads, and everything.
Yeah,
I don't know what
letterhead. Yeah, and you'll find a way to get back at me. I know that for sure.
Yes,
Tony, you've had a busy week, haven't you, my friend? Huh?
It's been crazy busy, absolutely bananas. And yesterday we had almost 70 degrees, and then last night. This cold front came through and it dropped to 33, and we had hail and snow mixed. So it was all of a sudden almost a Christmas thing going on. But yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah.
Well, you already had roof damage. Did it expand that damage, or you don't know yet?
Not. I haven't been to the commercial building yet. But
oh boy.
So yeah, I tell you, I'm so excited to have Mr. Cuttari with us today, because Jaian is just a wealth of information, and he's such a wonderful individual, so down to earth. I always just am so delighted every time I get a chance to talk to him. So I know that everybody today is going to get just a tiny glimpse of just what an incredible individual we have today. So I'm so excited about that.
All right, absolutely. And we've been very fortunate to have several conversations with him, and every time I learn something, every time. But instead of us just making his head bigger and let it swell, we'll go ahead and bring Jaian on right now. Jaian, welcome to the Swarm Unplugged, my friend.
Hello. Yep.
Well, you are. I don't know how much more praise we could give you, but we'll keep trying here along the
way. That's okay.
Yeah, let's start out and let you kind of tell people about yourself a little bit.
Awesome. So So my name is Jaian Cuttari. I like quite a few things. I started with government contracting firm. We service the United States government, as well as a few other governments, on technology related solutions. We hardware, software related, and also we provide the multinationals. We work with a few multinationals on bringing them a few technology solutions as well. And then after that, I branched out and I got into more so a management consulting investment kind of field, where we advised world leaders and governments on policy on how to implement emerging tech in emerging markets, keeping them aware of all the possibilities to help their people. And then, through that process, I have had the privilege of working with various crypto startups. And in doing so, I realized the potential of not just cryptocurrency, but blockchain and the other technologies in the space, NFTs and so forth, um, which made me go in and do things around financial services for around digital currencies, as well as more oriented towards art, for example, using NFTs and things like that. And that's pretty much what we're focused on right now at this very second.
Well, I know that you have you've gone through that progression, but you've got several businesses all working at the same time. I don't know how you keep up with them for sure. Uh, I know at one time you said you had quite a bit of Bitcoin even under management in your financial area.
That's right. That's right. We did have quite a few, and we still do. The markets are ever changing, and we just happen to have the right people. It's always important to know, to have the right people who can understand the charts, and they've been very, very good at telling us what the next move should be. So we lean on those guys.
Well, it's good to have a great team. Let's move and step it down here for a moment. Uh, how do you see, let's see, the man on the street? So, uh, getting into crypto, it becoming part of his everyday life. How do you see that progressing in the future?
hmm That's a great question. So, just a few years ago, cryptocurrency was not even a word. It wasn't even in anyone's mind. I know in like early 2011s to up, I would say up until like 2014-ish, it was still, everyone was skeptical. I mean, everyone's always been skeptical, even to this day, but especially back then when like Bitcoin was like $100, it had just hit like $150 or something, and it had progressed to like $300 or whatever it was going at that time. And a lot of people didn't even care. They were just like, oh, this must be, some sort of scheme to get, obviously take people's money away. And it survived. Now, fast forward, uh, from Bitcoin being a concept and cryptocurrency just being some sort of vague concept, now we've seen that there's an active progression of people using it, not just trading it, not just talking about it, but actually using it, especially in emerging markets. Now, why it has happened rapidly in emerging markets more than mature markets is very simple. The simplest reason being, of course, people will point out and say, well, there's not enough infrastructure. That's true. But there's also a key detail missing, which is that they can't rely on their currencies. They can't rely on their government. There's too much instability. You have countries which, you wake up, you go to sleep in the country, you wake up in a whole nother country. You know what I'm saying? They are constantly changing. And this kind of instability is something which is stifled growth, economic growth, and progress in a lot of these emerging markets. So, what I would say is, how has it progressed? 1 in 4 Kenyans have a crypto wallet. You have Nigeria, it ranks in the top 5 of trade volume. I believe right now 30% of the population of Nigeria, which is a population of a couple 100 million people, roughly quarter billion people, I'd say, 30% have used cryptocurrency. And that's just a rapid progression. We're talking within 2 years, 3 years time of its introduction in these markets, like mass introduction. It's just so the fact that everyday people in those markets know the value of it, and they're willing to use Bitcoin before they use the local currency, shows how much they trust this stuff and how much they want to, how much it's helped their lives. So I feel like that's going to happen now, it's going to be like usually, mature markets, then it goes to the emerging markets. But now it'll be like emerging markets are the ones taking the lead to show that it's useful and the people benefit. And then the mature markets are going to look at it and like, okay, maybe it's not so dangerous, right? Maybe it's not just a investment; it's actual. You can actively use it. Um, and of course, this takes a whole effort by private sector, not just government, to implement this stuff. And if Amazon, for example, used cryptocurrency, I'm sure on their store, things would just blow up overnight. Same thing with so there's like, and fast food chains and all that. So it's like it's just a matter of private sector understanding that this is the future. It's not going away. The market's going to shift that direction, whether they like it or not, and they just need to prepare for it. And if they start now, I think it will make that transition easier versus transitioning when they realize that, oh wow, we have missed out billions of dollars in revenue because we simply didn't want to accept the money. So that's what's going on.
Well, they're in the emerging countries also. The central banks are all looking seriously at the CBDCs. How is that going to affect what's happening already?
Okay, so the CBDCs are very interesting in that there's such a huge gray area right now as far as what it takes to make one. You can use Bahamas as an example. They have the sand dollar, I believe it's called, and it's not its own currency. It's just an extension of their existing reserve. So it's backed by they're backed by their fiat, and that is a digital currency of the Bahamas central bank, and they have used it, have piloted it, and it seems to have worked decent, but not like on a large scale. But that's one interpretation of CBDC, which is just an assistive extension of existing currency. Then you have another interpretation, which is, you got countries emerging, in emerging markets who are, they lack, they're very, very dependent on foreign reserves. So they need to hold dollars, euros, pounds at all times. Sometimes I've spoken with certain central bank, governors and so forth, and I'm like, so what is in your reserve? And they print money all the time. So I'm like, what are you backed by? They're like, oh, we're backed by dollars, or we're backed by the gold and stuff. How much gold or dollars do you have? Oh, we don't have any. so you just gotta, like, it's just like, when we don't know, right? Like so these guys, for example, for situations like that, of course they don't disclose this to the public, then that would be problematic.
Yeah.
But the thing is, for those guys, the solution is tokenize your asset, tokenize your resources. You have gold mine, you have oil field, tokenize it. Right now, here's the second part to that. Within that line of thought, there's two interpretations. One, you have to only tokenize what has been extracted, right? Your realized resources. Unrealized resources, of course, untapped, but it's there. Realized resources, you've already extracted it. So you're sitting on $100 million of gold in your bank, or wherever you store it as a country. And you want to tokenize that and then issue currency, currency in the sense of, you want to issue currency on top of that reserve, which makes sense. You can look at it, point at it, measure it up, and say, this is what equals to this. But then the more looser interpretation of this is you tokenize the untapped resource itself, meaning you have, you do geographic surveys, you do all of that, and you say, you get very, like, a range of an estimate. They say, well, sitting under your feet right now is $12 billion in oil reserves, we believe. This amount is what's under your feet. And you just tokenize that. What qualifies it to be, if you say, well, I'm printing this money based on that, and there's no way to actually say, well, this is the exact amount in the ground, that's another loose interpretation. So that's the nature of CBDC, is that some people they have a conservative interpretation where it's backed strictly by what's existing in their fiat reserve. And then the other interpretation is, oh, well, we have resources. We want to, go ahead and, tokenize it. And then some people are like, wait, let's stop there. We'll only tokenize what we've extracted, not what we haven't touched. And
Mhm.
the other people who are more, I would say, radical would be like, you know what? Let's tokenize everything, even the things we haven't touched yet. We just need the data to prove that it's there. But other than that, and get a few audits done. But other than that, it's there. We don't even have to touch it. So there's it's a spectrum of
Yeah.
interpretation.
Is it going to be a problem though with so many individual currencies, cryptocurrencies? Is it going to be a problem between countries as far as actual trade goes?
I don't think there would be a problem. I think right now as we speak, just away from countries and just in general, there's hundreds of thousands of cryptocurrencies right now.
Mhm.
Of course, most of them aren't inactive, but if we talk about just active alone, there's probably a good solid 5,000, 10,000 currencies, right? Anywhere that range, which do have function, and they can be traded between each other, no problem. Um, and so similarly, yeah, and of course, that's a private sector thing, but in government, the uses are different and that way they would apply it is different. So definitely there would need to be a bunch of policy measures and agreements between countries saying, hey, maybe they might come in and say, hey, look, we're going to form this union, where this currency will be enacted, like this will be accepted throughout these countries, member countries. So they don't have to create each individual thing. They can create SDR, which is a basket of currencies, like what the IMF uses, which is it's like a very solid stable coin. It's backed by not just dollars, not just pound, not just euros, but it also includes other currencies, other assets, which back this value, which means that it very rarely shifts in value. And when it does shift, it's not a problem. So they might could work together, combine their resources, and say, hey, listen, I'll throw in this oil field, you throw in your gold, you throw in your diamonds. We'll tokenize it. We'll back this one unified currency, and you could use it all across a certain region, maybe, right? Um, but if we're talking government, it definitely would be a more of a policy in place. Technology already exists to do it, but just mainly like policy. Like, okay, do we want to be confrontational with other countries, or do we want to work, proactively with them?
Mhm.
Uh, so and the other thing is, um, it's still it's not it's even with their best efforts, I don't think it would match the success of Bitcoin. I would sum it up to it being just another ICO. Well, not an ICO, but like a government just launching its own coin is no different than a company launching its coin in this day and age. Of course, they have an active community, which is their people, their citizens, but I don't think it would serve the purpose as strongly as the existing solutions, which Ethereum, Bitcoin, and so forth.
What do you have any opinion on where the IMF stands on this right now?
It's mixed. It's mixed. There are people who are saying do something. Other people are saying no, no, wait it out. And then of course you have the last group of people saying nah, forget about it. It's all bullshit, right? So it's like that's the group of people. We're talking about three groups, and it's all bureaucracy. But IMF is making active efforts. They're researching this stuff. There are pilot programs. I believe they're starting to fund in a lot of for emerging markets to help the unbanked. I've heard of various, like I said, efforts, but very small pilot programs, that sort of thing. I don't think they've looked at it in a way which they are coming out with the solution next year, for example. They're probably going to take their time.
Mm.
Yeah.
And before I turn this over to my trusty co-host, what do you think is going to happen as far as the regulations? How are regulations going to affect crypto?
How regulations going to affect crypto would be based off of jurisdiction. We're going to have to see, some countries were born for crypto, whether, they didn't even realize it. You can use Cayman Islands as an example. They already have strong laws which protect uh, funds, everyone's funds, and the beauty of that is that they have had a strong tradition of that. They've never changed too much. So when you can bank on Cayman, you can bank on the Swiss. Maybe not the Swiss today in this day and age, but you could once bank on the Swiss too. So their policies are never like they're set in stone, effectively set in stone. So you can, if you're dealing with crypto, there's a place which is supportive of crypto. They don't outright ban it. They're not going to wake up tomorrow. You're not going to wake up tomorrow with like how they're planning here in the United States for 80% tax, for example. You're not going to wake up to that in Cayman. Cayman is going to be like, listen, we know about it. All right, have fun with it. Just, take it easy. Meanwhile, you have other jurisdictions which are just using this as an excuse to be relevant, right? They want to attract investment. They want to make noise. They want to stand apart among the 180 something countries. And you got Malta. No offense to Malta, I have nothing against Malta, but Malta was a political stunt. It was like the guy, he came in, he made a lot of noise. He said, "Oh, come on in, bring your crypto, tax-free this. We want to be the crypto capital, blah blah blah." Sounds good, but before that, who even knew Malta existed? Okay, like that's what happened. Like they just want to be relevant, but they're not serious about what they mean. And lo and behold, a few years of attracting investment, you had all these. Of course, you also had attracted shady companies coming in, and they wanted to operate there. And of course, there was little due diligence done on who's coming in. And a few years later, scandals erupt, political scandals and stuff. Government switches, and now they're looking at it like, how we told you that we're friendly towards crypto? We're not so friendly anymore. We're gonna take actions, and whether you like it or not. Those are the jurisdictions you have to stay away from, right? If they were never secure with their policy for traditional finance, like say Cayman was, they're not going to be secure or consistent with the crypto. So you don't want any kind of pancake governments flippity flopping on you. So that's one. So you have, and then of course you have someone like the United States who they're lagging.
Well,
Behind.
if I could, speaking of the United States, the SEC now has a major lawsuit, if you will, action being taken, which may affect many different cryptocurrencies. Uh, and I guess that the SEC sued us into the coin in XRP. So once that decision is made, one way or the other, don't you think it's kind of widespread effect?
Yeah, I think so, but at the same time, I believe there's some, I think at this particular case, I believe XRP also has leverage. They also have a standing ground on their side of the argument. I think they're going after technicality because what they're saying is that the SEC is basically, according to what they've said, according to what XRP has said, is that they've said that the SEC has abused power. They're abused power, and they continually are, throwing bogus subpoenas at these guys. They're continually, without even telling them why. It's kind of like you're following the rules. You're minding your own business, and someone keeps nagging at you. They keep poking you with a stick, and you don't know why, what's going on, and they keep taking you to court, right? And you're not doing anything wrong, and the SEC keeps without giving you. Imagine you're playing a game and you only know some of the rules and the other rules are uncertain or never even defined, and the person who made the game doesn't even want to tell you the rest of the story, the rest of the rules, and they keep challenging you on every move you make. And that's what's going on with that. Basically, the XRP community and the companies is challenging the SEC on grounds of basically overstepping and just completely like throwing bogus lawsuits and subpoenas at them for no reason other than to harass them. That's what the story is coming from their side. So I could see that happening because there is no clarity. Like if you're going to tell people to follow rules, have the rules out there so everyone can see what's right, what's wrong. But if you're not going to, if you don't even know the rules yourself, you're going to say, "Hey, you can't do that," and they're like, "Where does it say I can't do it?" You're like, "I don't know, but we haven't decided yet, so you can't do it." That doesn't make sense.
Right.
That's what's
It's probably not going to get real wide acceptance until there's clarity. According
exactly.
to
And that
the
clarity doesn't, SEC is one, it's not even a body of, there's three branches of government. SEC is not one of those branches.
Yeah.
It's a agency within the executive branch, and they need to mind their own business, in my opinion, until they've been given clear framework to go off of. And until then, they can't go around harassing people and creating bogus lawsuits just to make noise. So that's what I think. Now, again, they have a very important function. They're protecting public interest. Okay, I'm not going to be too harsh on the SEC because they're just trying to do their job. But at the same time, if you're going to do it, don't overstep. Know when you're doing, but know when you're wrong as well, right? So that's the problem. They don't know when they're wrong. But they only want to tell you when you're wrong.
Tony, go right ahead, my friend.
Jaian, you've got so much knowledge in this space, and it is that there's no way we can cover even a fraction of some of the knowledge and some of the benefits of people listening to your different opinions and, of course, the experiences that you've had, and some of the things that, of course, that we experience on a daily basis is the thing that we can depend on is it's going to change. And of course, they're going to want to get some kind of understanding of how that is. What I'd like to do is just change the subject just a little bit here, because I know we're going to have you back again to talk about different things. I know that you're very familiar with lots of stuff in the NFT field and many other areas in crypto, but today, right now, Chris has asked some great questions. I want to ask you, what on earth have you been doing for the last 48 hours? Because apparently you haven't slept in 48, 50 hours. So what have you been up to? I mean, what do you do apart from all the different businesses and everything that you manage? Because you manage a tremendous amount of businesses and so many things. So does that require having to go without sleep for days on end? And I'm assuming you're not going to get any sleep today either. So you're going to be going on a 72-hour before we know it. So what keeps you going? Tell me.
It's a marathon. It's a mental marathon. Yeah, you're right. 50 hours and counting at this point. And, obviously, full disclosure, it's not every day this happens, but that's the journey people are on. I'm sure I'm not alone. We do have a startup, which, as you mentioned, Tony, focuses on NFTs. And we just had a last minute hiccup at the time of showcasing the product. So we spent a good amount of time fixing it. And the problem, at first, we were told the problem is small. Our team was like, don't worry about it. It'll be fixed in like an hour or two. I'm like, okay. And keep in mind, we have all these people waiting to see it. They're all like, okay, yeah, we're here, we're very key stakeholders. And then, 2 hours turns into like 10 hours. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. And then next day happens and we have to reschedule, and then we're rescheduling and they're like, oh, problem hasn't been fixed yet. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
We had enough time. They're like, we don't know exactly what's wrong. I'm like it's been hours. So so we've been working countless, like around the clock, countless hours just to fix these little problems. And, this morning, we did figure it out. So we're doing continuous testing and stuff. So come tomorrow, it should all go smoothly.
Well, we can't wait to hear some of the stuff that you're doing. I know some of the things that you're doing are so exciting, and
but Tony, the fact of the matter is, we certainly want him back for NFTs. But are you at liberty to tell folks what your particular NFT program is about and the type of art you mentioned it to us before we started? Are you able to do that at this point? since it's not
Sure.
released?
Yeah. No, I would be happy to. I mean, we're pretty much getting to that stage of releasing a lot of stuff. So I guess you hear it first here. so um, so
Yay!
we are, so our platform essentially is focused on at large strictly rare art, real art, tangible art. And we wanted to what we realized it was at large, the traditional art world was being pretty much overlooked in the NFT space. And there seems to be some sort of either, there's not a bridge built between the two worlds right now, a strong bridge for them to slowly just say, hey, we have the Mona Lisa of your NFT, here you go. That's not going to happen immediately. But we have worked with, museums and galleries and private collectors, and we realized they don't know what NFTs are. They've heard of it, but they don't really conceptualize it. They're not the same age category as the NFT buyers and the people in the community right now. So obviously, we're talking about people in their like late 70s, 80s, who don't even care what NFTs are. But we sat them down, we had discussions. We're like, look, at the end of the day, you don't even have to sell this art. You can leave it on the wall and let people appreciate it and also have a small piece of it. And they really like the idea of, giving equitable access to rare art. Rare art collectors are going down. The population of rare art collectors are going down. The art of buying rare art and appreciating rare art is a dying art, no pun intended. So there's a huge gap there as well, where we need a young people to come in and fill in those gaps. And so, but obviously no one has $5 million just lying around to buy a whole Picasso or whatever. So what we do is we come in, we have rare art, we create fractional ownership. Our platform is going to issue fractional ownerships, micro NFTs, and every single person who has the ability to have some spare change lying around can participate and own a piece of Picasso, own a piece of Andy Warhol. And
so in layman's terms, Jaian, you're saying that somebody like you mentioned Picasso and I'm sure there's Rembrandts and all kinds of stuff that you're working with, but you're talking about collectible museum, 10, 20, $50 million artwork that somebody can come in and for a thousand or a few thousand or whatever the number might be, actually own the real deal. I mean, that's really putting a different spin on NFTs as I know them, and I think that's a really exciting place to go. I'm really excited to see how that goes. And how
you can see it on the wall. Like you can go, like a lot of these galleries are going to have that art displayed on the wall. So if you do want to make the trip, go there and impress somebody. Just be like, hey, I own a piece of that. You can Can I get a little? Can I go up there and put a little star on? Say that's. I wouldn't suggest you do that.
I just but Jaian, I got to ask you something else because we're going to definitely get you back for NFTs because you really understand them so well, and I know there's a lot of people that.
And he told us in his spare time he likes to go to restaurants and.
That's not all he does, though. I know that
watch a movie and
watch a movie, catch a movie.
He played a part once. I think I saw Jaian in it was a Matthew McConaughey or something. Matt McConaughey, right, John?
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, I mean, you do, don't you? Are you denying that you didn't have something to do with that?
To meet Matthew McConaughey? Is that the
question?
I
think there was something more about a part that you played to try and mimic his or portray him or something. What was it, Chris? I don't know.
I don't know, but we're about to find out. Why don't we just roll it?
Let's just see it.
If I start with all right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With a common denominator. Keep it up for me. See how we roll. How the money comes in.
Name? Bond. James Bond. Past, isn't it?
Ready to save the world again? After you, 006. Maybe Wade was right. There's no dish.
Come back alive.
I didn't kill father. Jeremy was your brother.
ढाल देखो रगों में उबाल देखो वो देखो वो देखो वो देखो वो देखो वो देखो
I'd really like to take these off.
I'm sorry.
What for?
Trying to kill me.
Oh, come on, it was just a little bond.
Have the wrong guy. Does he look like he can fight? Come on, bro.
Sometimes to contain threats. The real world isn't affected by what happens here.
What do you mean, threats?
Not ready for that.
Try me, Beyonce.
Guys, I am forever in your debt. I love you. You are my equals. You are my betters. I could have never been here without you.
No wonder
Well-
he has no time to sleep. I mean, there
Yeah,
you
he's
go.
too busy after, doing all these heroic things for the world and changing the world and everything.
Wow, Jaian.
You know, for the first time in 50 hours, you kept me speechless.
Well, I saw you holding your head in your hands at times, like, oh my God.
I was like, what's going on? my brain is not able to process all of this in one day.
Well, just know that now it's out for the public to be able to find all your creative talents that you haven't told a soul about. Just for everybody listening, go to YouTube and look up. Oh, I can see you replaying it for all your friends. I just know you will.
Oh, man. I have to replay it for myself a few times to understand what I just watched.
What just went on? Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, that's a courtesy of my wonderful co-host, Tony Kay, putting all that together. And
Awesome. I appreciate it, guys.
It's always fun. Well, it's always fun to have a little fun and not be so serious.
You know, I was going to try to get some sleep, but that's going to keep me up tonight.
Well, you're just going to dream about the possibilities, right?
I did kind of give you a roundabout warning, and then and if it's something that's distasteful, then just look to Rick. Rick Wicks was the one that put it up, so he can take that.
Oh yeah.
No. It was definitely a well put together production.
Okay, I'll take credit then.
Well,
with Rick's
just to kind of roll it up here, and it probably is kind of going in full circle, and that is warnings. Crypto is the wild, wild west. What should a person look out for so that he doesn't become one of the casualties instead of one of the more successful?
Yeah, in the context of an individual trying to enter crypto, do your homework. Don't just listen to random people. Look at the facts. There's tons of resources out there. I know Coinbase does it. I think Binance has Binance Academy. I know that one. And then Coinbase has its own learning thing. So when you sign up, you can learn tutorials, understand. And of course, there's tons of information online itself. Where the majority of the people learned stuff on their own. They learned it online. The information is available to everybody. So there's no such thing as like a specific person, these people who sell you guides and stuff. And that's how they make their money. They didn't make their money off crypto. They're making their money off of selling you bogus or maybe copy pasted things you could find online. And that's just for an individual. Now, if you're entering the crypto space as a startup and you're like, hey, I want to do this, I want to roll the dice in crypto, that's great. But just keep in mind, there's going to be a lot of people who are schemers, so you have clarity, your mind is clear. Don't muddy the water, right? When you have clear water and you have clear mind, don't let people throw mud in it and make you lose focus. So you're going to meet a lot of people who are going to introduce you to, oh, I can do this. I offer you this services, that services. And you're going to be a startup. You're going to be a naive startup, and you're probably going to sign up to a lot of things. Don't sign up to a lot of things. There's tons of people. Do your homework. Do your homework on those people. Just don't rush into anything. Look twice. There's tons of impersonators in the crypto world. People who impersonated me as well, trying to put me on their teams and this and that. So, just make sure you're able to solidify your image, your online profile, so that when and if someone tries to, do that kind of stuff, people know the real you between the fake you. Also, don't get into this market trying to be all about the money. Crypto world is the business of money, but don't try to just raise money and just be about raising money. Okay, that's long gone. That worked in 2016. It's not going to work today. And you have to have a real idea. You have to have a real purpose. That's why a lot of those companies went bust, and we were talking about that. Exactly. Someone said principle before profits, and that puts it perfectly. That's what this is all about. The reason why, and that's one of the things is going to stifle the industry, is people who don't do that. They don't put principle before their profits, and they want to just come in. It's a quick cash grab. They want to go on vacation. They want to buy a ticket to Mars and hide out somewhere over there. But that's not, that's just, it's going to create more distrust. It's going to create more division and more people saying, oh, look at these guys, right? Don't set a bad example for the industry. Be the ideal candidate. Be the poster child where everyone can look at you as a company and be like, this is a legit company. The crypto industry is legit. It's not just a bunch of, pop-up lemonade stands pretending to be Coca-Cola. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, we're definitely having you back to talk about crypto in the business world, how to use it, how to maybe use crypto to start a new company, and of course the NFT side, because by the time we have you back on, yours will be up and running full steam, and you'll be able to show that off a little bit. So we've got a number of things that, as we've discussed a number of things that we want to get out to the people. So we appreciate your being with us. And as we're closing, I want to bring Rick on, our technical director, to say a few words as we close out here. Hello, Rickster.
Well, hey, and thank you for letting me come out of my little closet.
That was yours, wasn't it, Rick? You were the principles before profits, wasn't it?
Oh,
that was your one, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's an expression, a
well
motto
said.
that we use in our community. That's the Be Social community. But I just want to touch a little bit on NFTs. And if you remember, when you accepted being on this broadcast, you signed away your rights to everything. While you were watching your live action video, all of your expressions are captured, and I'm creating NFTs of them and putting them out. So
oh my gosh. Jeez. It never ends.
It never is. No, and in fact, Rick actually does NFTs and has his own NFT line that's coming out soon. So he can do it. He can do it even in 3D. If you're not watch out, he's going to have one up of you. Okay. Well,
Jaian had no idea.
I actually didn't. This is, I mean, it's crazy.
Well, it is crazy. I told you it's a little different than the last one that we had together, right?
Yeah, definitely different is the word. Yeah.
Well, Jaian, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today on the Swarm Unplugged. My great thanks to my co-host, Tony K., and to the technical director that keeps us all clean and looking good, Rickster, Rick Scherer right there. And as we go out today, and we talked about crypto and so forth, I'm going to play a little video that we've played before. And actually, this is another one that Tony K came up with, because I think it's fitting to end the program. So everybody, welcome back to the next episode next Wednesday on the Swarm Unplugged. Let's roll that footage.
One quiet, peaceful night, looking up at the stars, all of a sudden reality sets in, that we all share the same view of the skies. All of us have an equal view, no matter where we live on Earth or what economic situation we may be in. Try and imagine what this planet would be like if, just like our equal view of the skies, we all had equal opportunities. What if we had information that would make everyone on this planet equal? Then we would have an obligation to humanity to share this information. We do. M2 Cash. Together, we can change the world.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Swarm Unplugged podcast. Be sure to hit the follow button and leave us a glowing comment. Gravitate yourself to be on the podcast so you are the next one to introduce themselves to the Be Social community. See you on the next episode.